So one of my students showed me this a video that they found where somebody was using one finger to play Johnny B Goode. And, if you only have one good finger, I guess that's fine. It's not a bad idea to practice sliding one finger up and down the fretboard. But, there are a lot of better songs to do that with, ones that actually go like that, like You Really Got Me, Seven Nation Army. There's a bunch of songs that teach you that technique. And, to be honest, I've never actually seen somebody play a blues like that, And I think it's actually harder than the way that I'm about to show you, especially when you speed it up to the actual tempo of the song. Like, I think the blues they were playing was Johnny B Goode, right? And it's like, way down in Louisiana, that's just going to burn a hole in your finger, right? And, it makes for a great title, play the blues with one finger. But ultimately, it's just not practical. You're not going to be able to actually play the song up to speed with it. And it's just not going to transfer into future skills. What I'm going to show you today is simple. It'll help with your coordination, your timing, and you'll actually learn to play the rhythm for Johnny B Goode that any competent guitar player would, and be able to apply it to tons of other songs. Really quick before we get started, if you enjoy learning guitar with me, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the YouTube stuff, because it's the best way to help support me so that I can keep making free lessons for, all of you to enjoy and become good guitarists. It all starts with this little shape right here, the open A power chord. It's a power chord and it's in the open position because we have the open A string. So here's the A string, and then I'm pressing the second fret of the D string, and I'm just getting those two strings. I'm kind of just flicking my pick kind of outward. And now I'm going to keep my index finger where it is, and I'm going to add my ring finger to the 4th fret. And that's a little bit tricky. If we let go with our index, it's no problem, but holding those both down at the same time, we kind of have to treat it like a chord shape. So we want to adjust, get our technique in a way that this feels pretty good. That's why some people might recommend that you slide up. But like I said, once you get that up to speed, it's just insane. And it's like squeak, 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 squeak. So let's work on that technique, getting our ring finger to where it needs to be. We can pull our elbow into our body. We can get our knuckles forward, make sure our thumb's in a good spot. It's all the same rules for making good chord shapes, really. We're just holding down those 2 frets, the 2nd fret with our index on the D string, and then the 4th fret of the same string with our ring. And if you find that it's just not working, let's just try it a bit higher on the fretboard. So the frets are smaller here, right? Maybe we can try it on the 7th fret and the 9th fret, which is 2 frets higher. And just going between those two. And maybe you do that today. You get used to just going between those 2 notes. Then you go 1 fret lower and 1 fret lower. Maybe do 1 fret a day. And within 7 days, you'll be down here in the right spot on the 2nd and 4th fret. And we just want to alternate between those 2 fingers. Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens. So I'm just strumming the A and the D string with little tiny downstrokes going 1, 2, 3, 4. So on beat 1, it's the index, and then on beat 2, I add that ring finger. Then on beat 3, back to the index. And I'm just alternating between those 2 fingers. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to play the rest of the song, we need to take this exact same thing that we're doing and move it up 1 string. So I just move over. Now my fingers are on the G string at the 2nd fret and the 4th fret. It's pretty much the same thing. And I'm going to pick the D and the G string and do the same thing a couple times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And going back to where we started, if we go down 1 string, so now my index is on the A string at the 2nd fret and the A string at the 4th fret, and I pluck the E string, that gives us the E chord. So those are the 3 spots: A, D, and then E. And you can just remember the string that's open, right? For the A string's open. For D, the D string is open. And for E, the E string is open. It's not just 3 random things. It's all related to like how the guitar works, right? It all makes sense when you learn the names of the strings and all that stuff. And now that we have, you know, the thing that we're playing, we just have to pop it into the blues, and we have to figure out the order of the chords. And I'm just going to put it in the corner for you to follow along with. But I'm going to count it out in a special way, and I want you to copy how I do it. You know, if you find that you get lost in the song and you miss the chord changes, this is the ultimate way to like gain that skill. I also have another kind of like cheater way that I'm going to show you right after. But basically, you just look at those chord changes and you just go A, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4. I'm not even adding that finger. I'm just counting along for A, 2, 3, 4. Then D, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. You could even sing it. You go deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens. And once you're used to the order of the chords, you add the movement with that finger. You know, deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B Goode, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ring in a bell. And, you know, while I recommend working on the counting, you know, and just counting it out loud and doing it that way, remember, every time you move your finger, that's the next number. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, we do that 4 times on A, 2 times on D, and so on. You can just look at which words the chords change on. So it starts on down. It actually starts on the second word. Deep down in Louisiana, you know, and then we keep going. Among the evergreens, there stood a log cabin. So you underline the word stood. You could even write the D over it, because that's where it changes to stood. Stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B Goode. So lived, who never ever learned to read or write so well. So never, we go to E, but he could play a guitar. You know, and I just underline where we change to the next chord. It's a bit of like a, not the best way in the long run, but it's going to work for now. And it might help you to do that alongside those other ways, and it'll kind of all start coming together. Now from this point, there's one more thing we can do, and that is to adjust the strumming. Instead of just picking once every time that we move a finger, we can play 2 downstrokes. So down, down, then I switch to the next finger, down, down. And I just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So this hand is doing the same thing. We're just doing twice as many strokes with this hand, you know. And deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, there stood a log cabin made of earth and wood. There lived a country boy named Johnny B Goode, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ring in a bell. Go, go. And that is it. From here, it's just a matter of practice until you feel comfortable doing it. Remember to break it down into those steps, you know, just working on the riff itself, counting along to the blues progression, doing it with 1 strum, and then finally double time. You know, we build up into it. I also have a free lead guitar ebook if you're into that sort of thing. You know, I'm going to put a link for that down below as well. It's free for all my subscribers. Otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You know, doing all that stuff really helps the channel, and I sincerely appreciate those of you who have already done so. Either way, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.